Hey guys, how's it going today? As you can see, we're in my living room right now. And what does that mean? Well, it means we have a little bit different episode today. Um, did a little fishing this last weekend, and from what I heard from a lot of other people who were ice fishing, and a few people from the trout fishing community, um, it sounds like it was a really tough weekend for everybody. And Friday for me is when I went out, and it's Monday right now. But Friday is when I went out, and I was excited because it was 40 degrees out that day. Very nice, very mild. It was overcast, which I like overcast for fishing, for trout fishing especially. And conditions were perfect. By the time 1 o'clock rolled around, it was horrible. The temperature went from 40 to like 10 degrees and windy and a ton of snow coming down in a matter of 2 or 3 hours. And I had a very tough day of fishing. I only caught one trout and I missed probably 6 or 7 of them. A couple of them were really nice too. So, talk to you guys a little bit about why that happened and what factored into that. And also want to go over some things about some of my tackle today, my rods and reels, and some lures that I use, and lines and stuff like that. Because I've had a few people ask me about what I do, what I use, what I do, and all that kind of stuff. So I figured, you know what? I want to be a little bit of a teacher today because I like teaching people stuff, and especially if they, have some success from it. It's a pretty cool feeling. So, yeah. So, about an 8 or 9 inch brown trout there. Yeah, nothing too crazy. But we'll let him go here. See ya. Pew. Woo. So the first thing we'll talk about is the last week we had. Obviously, like I said, it's Monday right now. But last week, the whole week, it was like 35 to 40 degrees out. And I actually ended up catching a couple of decent largemouth bass in my backyard here. And it's my first 2 bass of the year. And it was because it was warm out. Even though there was ice around, there was enough open water where I'm at where they were still swimming around, chasing food, because I caught them on crankbait, so they were chasing around bait fish and stuff like that. And so I went out Friday, and it was super warm out, super nice. It's perfect. Wind wasn't bad, And the first fish I ended up missing that I saw, and he was slowly kind of swimming behind my lure. Wasn't really aggressive, and as soon as I kind of pulled my lure up out of the water, he made a little swipe, but he completely missed it. So I'm like, that's, whatever. I always miss at least one or two, just the way that goes. The next fish I caught, but it took me a couple casts to get him. He missed my lure twice before I actually got him. But he didn't actually get hooked, so he wasn't spooked, He was just kind of swatting at it. And so I caught that fish, and then I ended up seeing quite a few other ones, and they either got hooked and spit it out right away, or like the other 2 fish, they just missed it all completely. And it made for a really frustrating time. I could have had a great video, another great trout fishing video, but that probably would have been the most fish I caught in one session this year. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. So one big reason for that was, even though it was warm out, like I said, it was between like 38 and 40 degrees. Even though it was warm out, what's happening is a snow melt is happening. And trout are super sensitive to water temperature change. And what happens is if the water goes up even a little tiny bit per hour, they really fire up. But if it goes the other way, they completely just get weird, sluggish, turn off all completely. And that's what was happening because there was a snow melt happening. What that does is it cools the stream down because it's running into the stream. So even though the air temperature is really nice out, all you need is a sweatshirt on. The fish are completely just not even into what you got going on. And so they become sluggish and, either they bite but not very hard, so they don't get hooked very well. Even though you got a good hook set, super sharp hooks, this is just what happens in trout fishing. And another reason why was because not only we had that, but then all of a sudden, about 1 o'clock, this crazy front came through and just dropped the temperature from 40 degrees to like 10 with like a negative 5 to 10 degree wind chill. And it was absolutely horrible. So, yeah, really frustrating. And, it was my first time actually getting out and fishing for a couple weeks. Because the weekend before that, it was so terrible out that I didn't even go. So that's why I didn't have a video last week. And I figured, you know what, this would be a good week here to explain what happened and why the fish were acting the way they were, So for you guys who are having a hard time out there like that, and you're doing everything right, you got your gear set up right, you got sharp hooks, you got all that good stuff, but you still can't seem to have them hook up to your lure enough to reel them in, that's why. It's just the weather. I'm telling you guys, it's just the weather. Trout are super finicky when it comes to this kind of stuff. So, tell you guys a little bit about what I use in terms of tackle, What do I use for reels and rods? Well, as you guys know, I just use St. Croix for anything that I use fishing rod-wise. And I name it off in my videos often. I usually use a 5-foot ultralight moderate action, something with a little give to it because they're really small treble hooks on the lures I use, which are 16th ounce number 2 Panther Martins. And I'll show you guys here what I'm working with. Basically, I got a few different colors, and that mainly is because of light conditions, water conditions, the type of trout that are in the stream, all that good stuff. And this time of year, as long as your water isn't too cloudy, painted lures with blades, painted blade Panther Martins or any spinner bait has been working really, really well lately. And this is one of my absolute favorites. This is from the Panther Martin Nature series. The size of Panther Martin that I use, I love the number 2 16th ounce. And I always try to use a dressed lure as well. I've done great with just a regular black and gold or yellow and silver with no fly tied onto the hook. But I've really been having some great luck this year with these. And this is really kind of the first year I've tried to use these lures instead of just the regular gold and black body, no, just treble hook and no fly on it. I really like these, When it's like cloudy and the water's super clouded, I really like to use silver, So, and silver works great no matter what, but that seems to be the answer. And this is the silver blade here, but again with a dressed hook, they call that. But yeah, these are the ones I use for trout fishing 95% of the time, And of course, you got to have some kind of swivel. You can use a snap swivel, and then it's kind of nice because it snaps right on your lure. You can change them out real quick. I used to do that for years, but a guy on YouTube named Fishhawk, some of you might have heard of him. He trout fishes. He ties a barrel swivel to a his line and then drops another 10 inches of line below that and then ties his spinner on. And I tried doing this, and I'm really liking it so far. And I think it keeps their presentation a little better because trout have really good eyesight. So I think anything you can do to keep weird objects away from your lure is a good thing. So that's what I do. These are little VMC roller swivels. These are size 8, but, you know, you can go smaller than these yet. But they go to like size 12 and maybe even a little smaller than that. That's a good option too. You know, something small, but they're kind of nice because it gives you a little extra weight too, so you get a little bit more distance. But you got to have a swivel, some type of swivel if you're using spinners, because otherwise you're gonna have a really bad day. Because your line, it's gonna give you line twist, and then it's just gonna fly off your reel, and it's like the thing that I hate the most in fishing, actually. You know, a lot of people use like a 1,000 size reel, or you know, like a 25 size reel, or what else? Like, the spinning reels come in. I don't know, but anyways, the reels that I always use for spinning are these Fluger Precedents. Everybody knows what these are. This is a number 20 size, and so number 20 size is like what you would see in like almost like an ice fishing reel. So pretty small bail, small compact lure, and that's what I love to use on like an ultralight, you know, or some kind of trout specific rod that's like considered an ultralight or below like 5.5 feet. I'll go with one of these. You know, it gives me a really nice smooth far cast, even with a super light lure like a 16th ounce Panther Martin or like a 32nd ounce jig or something. This is my absolute favorite line to use here. This is Suffix Advanced 100% fluorocarbon 4-pound test, and I always go with 100% fluorocarbon for spinner baits and things like that because it fish can't see it in the water. Trout have really good eyesight, so fluorocarbon is a great way to go. Mono does work, braid does work, but I like fluorocarbon the most. Super smooth cast too, and you get a little more distance out of your cast, I think, with this. You know, and it's got a little bit of line stretch still, so you get a little forgiveness. You're not going to rip it out of its mouth. It's kind of my thing with braid is, you know, there's a time and place for it. I think some people use braid too much. And, you know, I don't know. I think some people are just fascinated by braid because it's braid and it looks cool on their spool because it's different colors. but braid is not for everything. You know, when it comes to like treble hooked lures, whether it's a crankbait or, you know, for bass fishing, or if it's for these little guys here, use mono or fluorocarbon. Get away from braid because it doesn't have any stretch to it, and so your chances of ripping that fish, you know, off of your hook is way more high than if you got something like this. So put that back up here. You guys see my pajama pants there? Oh yeah, Monday night. Not getting involved. What else? Yeah. The rod I use, I mean, I can show you it, but it's not really, where did I put it? It's not really, you can't really see it good on camera anyways. But the one I've been using in my videos is a 5-foot St. Croix Premier, and it's a ultralight power moderate action. So it's really more, I'd say, of a panfish rod. When it comes to trout fishing, I'd say ultralight power for sure, but a fast action is a little better. And why I'm saying that is because I actually have a brand new 2022 Trout Series rod from St. Croix coming in the mail, hopefully this week. And you guys will see that then pretty soon. It's just not here yet. But they are sweet. And I'll probably do a video on that rod in the future after I've used it a few times. But there are some pretty cool features on it. And I'm excited to get it get a fish on it. And, you know, definitely geared towards trout. February definitely is going a lot less smooth than January went for me, even though January was super cold. The whole point is the weather was stable, you know, it was like consistent. And February has been up and down like something I ain't seen in a long time, and fishing definitely has been affected by it quite a bit. So, yeah, that's about it, I think, for this week's episode. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe if you'd like to. I've gained a few subscribers here in the recent weeks, and I really appreciate that. We're almost to 100 people, you guys. 100 subscribers. That's insane. Get out fishing if you can. Good luck to you guys. And, you know, here's some stuff that I do and use, and try it out. See how it works. Hope it goes well for you. I think you'll be surprised, especially wintertime fishing. Spinners, painted blades, fluorocarbon, and I think you're gonna like it. So thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next time, hopefully with a fishing video instead of me just babbling about tackle. So see you guys later. Okay. 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 Yes.